welcome to another episode of I'm Right with me, Anthony Cordova, and my lovely wife, Jill Cox-Cordova. The first thing I'm going to say is, if you don't want to listen to me run my mouth, all you have to do is fast forward past this first 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and you can get right into the show. Now, if you are listening to this on replay and you're listening to only the audio version of this, thank you so much for listening to the commercials that came on before you heard me. And again, being that you've listened to the lovely sponsors, you can fast forward through this and get right into the show. And you're only 3 minutes and 39 seconds away. Now, if you are one of the viewers that watch our show live, you're here live, welcome. And if you're here live right now, you cannot fast forward past this portion, but we only have 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. So, if you are here live, remember there's a couple of things you can do and we encourage you to do. And one is participate in the show by typing your comments or questions because you make the show a whole lot better. So please do that. And if you are feeling daring and you actually want to be in the show where people can see you and hear you, or just hear you, there's a link on Facebook and YouTube. All you have to do is click that link and follow the prompts, and don't worry, you won't just pop up on the screen. We control that over here, so we will let you know when we're going to bring you up to the stage. So that is something you can do. Also, this is amazing. Okay. Also, we are entered into the Podcast Awards. Now, we would love it if you voted for us because it'll give us a lot more exposure. And the way to do that is go to podcastawards.com. That's podcastawards.com. And cast your votes for I'm Right. And maybe you will be responsible for making us famous, which would be great. Now, we only have 1 minute and 30 seconds before we go live with the show. And as many of you know, the only reason I just kind of ramble for 5 minutes because we are pushing buttons and checking out technical things and all of that. So when we go live, and we go live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and YouTube, we want things to be right. So we only have about 55 seconds and we're going to get into the show. And again, I want to thank all of you for your participation in the show. I especially want to thank all of the listeners that just listen to us in your car, at your office, and all that. Thank you so much, because our numbers are blowing up because of you. So please keep it up. We love it. But we would still love it if you can come to the show live and see us and hear us and interact with us. All right, we got about 15 seconds, so please stand by.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is I'm Right.
I'm Right.
And I'm Jill Cox-Cordova.
I'm Anthony Cordova.
How are you, everyone? I hope you're doing well.
Sure, they're doing well. Our audience is great. They're always great. They're doing fantastic.
Well, I think something's weird, though, technically.
We're having technical issues.
I believe so.
I don't see them.
I do.
But anyway, we must continue to do the show, Jill.
We will continue to do the show, but I don't think the Facebook comments are coming through.
Okay, well, maybe it'll clear up as we're doing the show. So if you are watching on Facebook and we don't mention your comments, there seems to be an issue with Facebook, and the comments don't seem to be showing up. Maybe this will clear up as the show goes on, but we are still here and we are still doing the show.
We are, and we're live on the show. I just don't see your comments. But if you do type comments within Facebook, I'll just turn this way every now and then and look to see if there are comments. So you may not see them on the screen, but I will monitor Facebook to see if you're commenting there. YouTube is working just fine, it seems, and it doesn't seem like it's working on my website either.
But it does say on our screen that it is connected. So, but anyway, let's get on with the show.
Maybe it's just slow. Maybe it's just slow.
Maybe. We need to get on with the show, get stuff moving.
We do.
We had 5 minutes to work out our technical issues.
And we didn't work them out.
But this is live. This is what happens when you go live. And think about it. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Just go live out to the world from our home. On video. Yeah, 10 years ago, we couldn't do it.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Seems like we've been doing this for 10 years, but I guess we haven't.
But we were doing just a podcast when we began.
Yes.
So that was different.
Yes, that is true.
So being able to go live and interact with a audience, we could not do this. We did not have the capability 10 years ago.
That's true.
So if something doesn't go, right all the time, it's okay.
That's right. Okay. That's right. Well, we do have some good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Good
what
news.
is the good news?
A drum roll, yay! Our good news is that we have entered our very first podcast contest. It's the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Okay. And so for us to make it into the finals and also win, we need you, the audience.
Yes, we do.
Because you have to vote, because it's people's choice.
Can a person vote as many times as they want?
They can go back to, they only have until July 31st to vote, and there are many different categories. Okay. We are into them. The first category is the first thing that once you sign up at podcastawards.com and get into the system, the first award that comes up is the People's Choice Award. So you can vote for us there. And then we are also in the society culture category.
Because I'm cultured. That's why.
We've been told that before.
I'm very cultured.
So you can only vote once in each category.
Okay.
But you can save your nominations and then, I guess, submit them when you're ready. But you only have until July 31st to even help us get to the finals. And then when the finalists are announced, it's 10 podcasts in each category.
Cool.
So hopefully we'll be in the top 10 in the two categories that we're part of.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, but
our
again,
audience brings us over the top.
Yes,
Ooh,
yes.
Over the mountain.
We need you. So go to podcastawards.com. Other good news, The Cordovas are here.
Hey, hey, hey!
Yay!
What's happening, y'all? So yeah, we see your yes, yeah. Well,
What?
well, that's what I want. What did I
word
say?
was
Yeah,
that?
we see your yeah.
What word was that? And they are on YouTube, so clearly YouTube is working.
YouTube is
so
working.
That's good.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just keep going. So let's get to our tonight's show
Yeah,
is
what
about
is our show about, Jill?
when an ex shows up. It's
an
part of a
ex shows
category that we call
Stand by your stance.
Stand by your stance.
I thought it would be fun in this section, in this segment of our show,
Yeah.
to talk about whether you should keep in touch with an ex. So I'll go first, and I'll
I
say
want to talk about that.
I'll go first, and
I
I'll
wanna talk
say
about that.
it depends on it depends on the relationship you had with that ex. So, for example, if you are co-parenting, it's perfectly fine, I think, for an ex to show
Yeah,
up at
I agree with you on
at
that.
every family gathering.
I agree with you. Yes, on that.
Yes.
However,
What's your however?
if it is a ex boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you had, an ex that way that you weren't married to and you don't have kids with, okay, you don't have children with, there's someone you'd dated, and I don't mean just someone you dated, but someone you dated. Nah, don't keep that one going. Not after you get married or, in a committed relationship. Don't keep that one going.
Oh, so you're saying if the ex shows up, it depends on what relationship status you have?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I tried to make that work. I tried to remain friends with exes, and it never worked out. It never worked out because they would compare themselves to the new person, and it never ended up good, ever.
So the ex would compare themselves to the new person, not the new person compare themselves to the ex?
Yeah, that's what usually happened, because the ex may know you better than the new person and may have more information about you than the new person. So the old person will try to, and not in all cases, I'm just saying what has happened to me.
We'll try to sit next to your wife and talk to her.
Has used that information.
Is that what you're saying? That
No,
your ex may sit next to your
not
wife,
saying- I'm
and
not
your
saying-
wife doesn't know that they're an
I'm not
ex.
saying anything.
And so the ex talks to the wife and starts asking questions about when
don't-
exactly
I
did you
don't know-
meet,
I don't
and
know.
how long have you been together,
I don't know what
and
you're
things like
talking
that.
about.
And the poor wife has no idea. She's wondering, why in the world am I being questioned like this? Like I'm usually the interrogator, but I've been in situations where I'm like, why am I being questioned like this? And then
I think you've lost the audience. I think they
I'm telling them about
no
a time
idea what you're talking about.
that your ex thought she knew more than your wife. She did. She did think that. She didn't. I don't think. Well, she had the one thing that I didn't know, which was that she was an ex. She did have that over me. She did have that over me.
Well, I don't know. Why are we having this episode? Why?
Because it's almost the 4th of July,
Yeah.
and holidays are when families get together, and it seems like when exes show up. At least that's been our experience.
Yeah, but my ex-wife, we get along fine.
Yeah, so well,
go
to me, your
functions.
ex-wife is different. She's the mother of your children.
Yeah.
So to me, that's
Yeah,
different.
we get
So,
along
and-
okay. We don't hang out like.
And
just
I get
her
along
and I,
with
but yeah.
her too. So
Yeah.
we've vacationed together. So we all
Yeah.
can be in the same room and in the same state.
Vacation like with the
all
whole
of
family,
us.
with the
Yeah,
kids
with all of
and,
us.
and all of
Yeah,
us.
and that's
Kids
been
and
perfectly fine.
grandkids And yeah, that works out.
Yes, but there have been times when I'm talking about when your exes, when another ex appeared, an ex girlfriend appeared. But we've had situations where I've had one of my exes to appear, and actually, he's the one that had the right to be there. I'm the one that came in, if that makes sense, because the two times that we saw that particular ex related to his family.
You were a friend of the family.
I was a friend.
So
Yes.
then you were supposed to be there.
Yes. Before I say more about that, I'm going to bring up comments. So first of all, we want to welcome Denise. Hey, Denise.
Hello,
Denise is
Denise.
in the house. Yay!
How are you
yay,
this
yay.
evening?
Yay! Oh, Connie asked a very good question.
What's that?
Connie says, "When did Jill know the person was an ex?" When did Jill know the person was an ex, Tony? I'll let you handle that question.
Jill did not know the person was an ex
Until
we got about 120 miles away from the function
we were
at.
out of the state. We crossed the state line before he told me.
I did tell you.
You, to your credit, you did.
I did.
You did.
I told you.
You did tell me.
Yeah.
I still don't know why you just didn't tell me then. I should have caught on though, because at one point you did sit between us, and you were listening to the conversation. Like we were playing tennis or something. So, and then you left. So I should have thought something was weird about that. Well, I did think something was weird about that, but it never occurred to me that she was an ex.
I came to sit next to my wife.
And your ex. You sat in the middle.
That's where the chair was. There was a chair there. It wasn't like I got a chair, brought it and put it in between you. There was an open chair right there in between you. So I took a seat, assessed the situation.
Denise thought that was a good question too.
So that things were relatively safe, and then I removed myself from that situation.
Yes. And you chose me the next day, told me the next day.
Yeah.
After we crossed the state line.
Yeah.
What did you think would happen if I learned then?
You might have been like, turn this car around.
I'm not that kind of person. You know me better than that. You know me.
I don't want any drama. No drama.
There wasn't any drama.
I know, because I didn't say anything.
That sounds like if you had told me, I would have created the drama. And I wouldn't have.
No, you would have started.
I would have answered questions differently.
Oh, and you would have started asking questions.
I sure would have. Because
So,
that's what I do.
Yes, that is what you do. Okay.
So, but
But-
in the other situation, you
Let
brought
me
up.
Let me tell you about the other situation with Jill and somebody. Did you actually ever date him for a minute? Like,
My ex?
yeah, was he ever really your ex, or was he just a? You dated him like a little bit. Anyway.
Definition of an ex. You dated them.
So early on.
Yes, we did date.
Early on, Jill, while we were dating, we weren't married yet, and she told me about this guy. And I said, that guy's in love with you. He wants you back.
And I said, no.
I said, no, he wants you back. He wants you back bad. You're the one that got away, is what I kept telling you. You're the one that got away, and he wants you back. She's, no, that's not true. We're just friends. No, that's not true. We're just
Well, at the
friends.
time, I didn't really consider him a friend either.
Well, anyway, so we get married. Over the years, we go to different functions and things that had to take place in that state where he resides. And he would always try to get Jill alone when I was not around.
Not the second time.
I'm not going to get into that.
The second time he came to our table.
Anyway, over the years, Jill ended up in Kentucky without me. And he insisted that he spend some time with her.
But didn't.
Because you didn't show up.
It wasn't like I stood him up. I didn't stand him up either.
No, he was insisting
we
that you
didn't.
meet him here, that he meet you there, and then he got very upset that you didn't, and all of this, and it was just a mess. But it's all done now. So, but still, exes, ex-wives, ex-husbands, you have kids together. Yeah, okay. But the others, nah, it might not work out.
Well, you brought up an interesting point earlier when you were talking about times when people do stay in touch. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm always looking up surveys and stuff related to our topic. So I looked, I found a survey that Psychology Today did, and they came up with 4 reasons that people stay in touch with their ex.
Okay.
So one of them is that they're part of a larger group of friends.
Okay.
Or, family that you were close to. Mm-hmm. Another one is that it was when you broke up, it was amicable. Or sometimes one party wants to stay in touch with the other because they're not over the breakup. Mm-hmm. And then there's people who have new relationships. They've moved on. There's a breakup. They've moved on. But in their new relationship, they don't know whether they're happy or not. So they keep in touch with the ex as a backup. That's what the survey said. I'll just go back to him if it doesn't.
Yeah, I had somebody do. They kind of did me like that. I was anyway. There was this one woman. She calls me up and she says, "Hey, I'm engaged." Someone I used to date, and we kind of kept in touch, but we were in different states, so it didn't interfere with anything. So, we tried that. We talked time to time, all good. And she says, "Hey, I'm engaged." "Wonderful. I'm happy for you." "All good." She says, "You are?" I said, "Yeah, I'm very happy for you. You found a nice guy. It's all good. I'm very happy for you." She said, "Thanks." So then about 6 months later, I get a call when I was in that particular state. I don't know how she knew I was there because I hadn't told her, but I was in this state quite often. And she says, "Hey, I'm getting married tomorrow." I'm like, "That's wonderful. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful wedding," so on and so forth.
Were you invited?
No, I was not invited to the wedding. And that was okay. I didn't want to go.
I was going to say,
I didn't want to go to the wedding.
I don't know very many people who invite their exes to their weddings.
Then she says, "Hey, I'm coming to see you."
Before her wedding?
Yes.
One less fling before she gets hitched.
"I'm coming to see you." And I said, "Do you think that's a good idea? This is the day before you're getting married." "Yeah, I'm coming to see you. Where you at?
Did you tell her?
I said, look, what do you think is going to happen? She said, I don't know. I just think I need to see you before tomorrow. I said, yeah, okay.
You said okay.
Yeah, but she called me back maybe, I don't know, 3 hours later and said, oh, I'm not coming. And I said, that's good. Okay.
Did her bridesmaids or somebody, talk her out of it?
I don't know. I didn't ask those questions.
Okay.
I said that's good. I hope your wedding goes well, and I wish you, all the, luck and everything with the marriage. And that was that. Then she called me probably 2 years later. I'm getting divorced. And that was a whole nother thing. So, anyway.
So my takeaway from that is that she really wanted you.
I don't know. I was kind of the one that got away. Okay. I was the one, her mother was like, oh, where's that nice guy?
Okay. Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, we have a question. Connie asked, how long do you date to be considered an ex?
How long do you have to date to be considered?
How long do you see someone when they're considered to be considered an ex?
I would say 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks? That's enough. 2 weeks?
Really?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
How many dates are in those 2 weeks?
I don't know. Never kept count.
That's like
2
dates.
weeks.
That's like 2 dates to be considered an ex.
But I think
it depends on
what. It might be 2 dates and a lot of special moments.
To that point, I think an ex depends on what relationship you have with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just get together and talk, is that really an ex?
I said it depends on what special moments you had with
No,
them.
I'm just thinking out loud. Like if you do more, like if you do more, that I don't know. That's a good question, Connie.
I don't know. Why doesn't Connie tell us?
Well, I think I do think that if you
Connie?
sleep with someone, that's considered an ex. I do believe that.
In Georgia, if you sleep with someone, they're considered common law marriage.
If you sleep with someone once?
Yes. It's on the books. It's on the books.
They never changed that?
No. It's on the books, but very rarely enforced.
Well, who's going to tell? Like, how are you going to enforce that?
Well, usually when it's enforced, it is enforced by someone that may get pregnant from a one-night stand, and they want to get some money. They want to get some money, some child support, some this and that, and they can use it to strengthen her case.
How do you know about this law?
If you lived in Georgia and you was a guy in the 80s, you knew about this law.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you know people who have been affected by this law?
No, I know. Not really. I've heard of. I have talked to someone that was affected by that law, but it wasn't like they were a close friend or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we should get to our last segment that we call
I'm trying to help you.
Well, I think the logical question to ask is, what do you do when an ex shows up?
Bye.
You what?
Bye.
You say bye?
Bye.
Is that what you said?
Bye.
You don't run? Do you run? You take off? You leave?
Look. Look, yeah, bye. 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 Yeah, for real. You remember it was coming up to when we were gonna get married. Our wedding was coming up, and an ex
Of
called
yours?
me up.
Oh, yes. I remember
and
her.
Was like talking some crazy stuff, and she said, "It sounds like you don't want to hear from me." I said, "That is correct. I do not want to hear from you." Bye. Done.
Okay, but if you're at an event where, it's a funeral, it's a wedding, you can't say bye if they're involved.
It depends. If I had a good, decent relationship with that person, fine. But if it was drama, no. I don't want any interaction with that person.
And that was going to be my advice is, just because they show up doesn't mean you have to interact.
Yeah.
Now if they choose to interact with you.
Hey, check this out. I just thought about something.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
The other night, we went to an event. And I don't know whether this person watches our show. But I said to Jill.
I was like, what are you talking about? Okay, I know what you're talking about.
That woman over there. And I remember she was staring at me, and we were in a crowd, a big crowd, and this woman was
over 200 people were there.
Staring at me like she did a double take. You know how you do a double take, and then she stared at me. And I said, Jill, who is that woman over there?
Because I was standing on the other side of you.
I said, who is that woman? She looks familiar. She says, oh, I think that's such and such. I said, yeah, that's who it is. Well, anyway, this woman...
But that person never saw me, I don't think.
Well, I think she did. This woman tried to steal Jill away.
That's not how it went down, but anyway.
Oh, this is another case where I was like, Jill, that woman wants you.
You did
Jill,
say that.
That woman wants you.
You did say
that.
that.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. Jill, that woman wants you. That woman wanted Jill bad, and she was trying to push me out of the picture. She wanted to divide and conquer, and it did not happen.
It didn't happen. In fact, I even once you started saying that to me, I think when you started saying it to me was when I brought you to an event with her.
I started saying it before then, actually.
Yeah, because I used to, just, girls' night,
Yeah,
and then I started bringing
girls' night from you.
I didn't know at the time. But she didn't. I don't think she saw me 2 nights ago.
I think she did. You were standing behind me.
I was behind you, but I'm shorter than you, so I don't think she.
Yeah.
I don't think she noticed.
Okay. She was like, "Darn, he's still there. He's still with her."
So why'd you bring this story up?
Because she wanted to be like your girlfriend, and she would have been an ex.
I have to agree to the relationship for her to be an ex.
She was
sweetheart.
trying. She
did not succeed.
She wanted you to be one of her exes, but she didn't. She didn't get that chance.
Nope, she did not. Did not.
Okay, is it time for us to wrap up,
It
Jill?
is.
It time to close the show out? It really is.
All right, here we go.
Well, let's do it. Alrighty. After show, anyone? We need your input. If
And
you have
your votes.
And your votes. Don't forget your votes. And there it is, the podcastawards.com, podcastawards.com. And any show you want, any questions you have that you think might be a good topic, let us know, and we may do it. Okay, and remember to check us out. I'm Right, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can also watch that on Jill's website, which is jillcoxcordova.com. Okay. Hey, we're back. We're
But only
back
for a
getting ready
moment.
to leave.
We are. Well, we hope that all of you have a wonderful 4th of July
Yes.
holiday
that was
weekend
very
if
good.
you're off.
Yeah, we should have. We should have done. I was gonna say we should have done a show on 4th of July, but nah.
Oh,
Hey everyone, look, we love you all. We hope to see you next week. Remember to vote for us, so we could be big time. Yeah. All right. So till next week, have a great 4th. Love you all.
bye.
See ya.